right. There are still many unanswered questions surrounding Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server while Secretary of State. Yesterday, at the first congressional hearing on the matter, the State Department's Chief Freedom of Information Officer acknowledged it would not be acceptable for employees to keep a government email on a private server.
I think that the actions that we've taken in the course of recovering these emails have made it very clear what people's responsibilities are with regard to record keeping. I think the message is loud and clear that that is not acceptable.
Okay. So it is a completely unacceptable process going forward, and it should have been retrospectively.
Going forward, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Joyce Barr didn't acknowledge whether it was acceptable when Clinton was secretary. She also reluctantly admitted she had no way of knowing how much official email Hillary Clinton had actually turned over.
We have them now, sir.
Do you have all of them?
We have the emails that she's released to us, all of the official ones. That's what.
Do you know what percentage that represents of all the emails she has on her server?
No, I do not.
So you don't have any way of verifying that you have all of the official emails that she processed on her personal email account?
We have been told that she has provided those to us.
Who told you that?
The secretary.
So you taking her word for it? I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that is some uncomfortable theater right there.
Yep.
She was also asked whether it was whether they made it less secure that she did this in Chappaqua instead of at the United States State Department, and reluctantly gave an answer there. She was not a hostile witness, but she certainly did not want to implicate did not want to implicate the secretary in any way, but clearly put in a terribly uncomfortable position by the former secretary's own.
There's not much to add to this. I mean, the testimony speaks for itself. Clinton, I mean, if not in the spirit of the law and the letter of the law, whatever you want to say, tried to skirt the transparency elements of her job. She may have, by having the server in Chappaqua, created security risks in addition to that. And this is the price she will pay for doing those decisions. Now, yeah, they're going to, the Clinton camp will say, well, everyone makes their own decisions about what's private and what's not. But the truth of the matter is if you start at the front end with a public dragnet on your email, it's far more likely that you will have transparency than if you go on the back end, and she chose not to do that.
So, Josh, for your new piece about the Clinton Foundation controversies, you spoke with Clinton Foundation donor and billionaire mining magnate Frank Giustra, and you write in part this: voters will have to take it on faith. These arrangements are as innocent as the participants claim. Frank Giustra, for one, sounds doubtful they will. If I didn't know me and I wasn't there, he says, I would think, oh my God, there is some connection between all the good stuff that's happening with Giustra and his donations to the Clinton trips. If Hillary Clinton is going to make it to the White House, she'll need to convince voters otherwise. Josh, let me push you a little bit.
Sure. This guy, even Giustra, sounds skeptical.
Yes. But since you all so vehemently want a there with the deflated balls, tell me what the there is with Hillary Clinton. Is there anything? Because we keep getting a lot of great questions brought to the table.
No, I think the there with Hillary Clinton is the same thing on the email scandals. It's a lack of transparency. I mean, if you look at the damage that Hillary Clinton has sustained from the Clinton Cash book, it's really not anything in the book because, as you say, there's no smoking gun. But it's the lack of transparency around it. You've had news organizations from the New York Times to Bloomberg to the Washington Post to ABC News all turning up these undisclosed foreign donors, which the Clinton Foundation agreed with the White House in writing that they would release, and they haven't. And so it feeds the impression that Peter Schweizer, the author, is trying to create, that there's something shady going on behind the scenes that Hillary Clinton doesn't want to disclose. And that's why when you look at polls like NBC's new polls, even though Clinton polls very strongly in terms of her leadership ability, a majority of Americans find her not honest and trustworthy. That's the problem right there in a nutshell.
Judge Giustra, when you talked to him, denied, as you would expect, any wrongdoing in his relationship with the Clintons or with their foundation. But in your reporting, did you find anything else, this uranium deal and everything else?
Well, it was a little tricky in the report. I mean, Giustra essentially wanted to get off his chest what he didn't feel the media had shared in their writing about his uranium deal. I mean, he told me that there was nothing untoward was going on, that yes, he and Bill Clinton had dined with Kazakhstan's president, but
Well,
the deal by that point was already...
You around the table hasn't dined with Kazakhstan's
I got a date this Friday, yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Very nice guy.
He's a real good guy. He serves the best.
Shabbat dinner this Friday with
Look,
him.
the point Giustra wanted to make, and I have no reason not to believe him,
to be eating
was that he had sold out of this company 2 years before Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State, and we agreed during our interview that he would provide me documents so we could independently verify this. He hasn't done that yet. That was about 10 days ago, so I can't say for certain. But his claim is that, look, my relationship with Bill Clinton is all about charity. And one of the fun things in my piece is he sort of describes in elaborate detail how Bill Clinton kind of, seduced him and brought him in and got him really turned on to the idea of giving away all his money.
Josh, it does seem, having read a bunch of these stories now, that the quid pro quo wasn't, we'll give to the Clinton Foundation and Secretary Clinton will then pursue this policy within the Obama administration. What happened, it seemed, was people like Giustra gave to the Clinton Foundation, and Clinton opened doors to them that they didn't have open before. He got them audiences with heads of state, with important leaders around the world, and then they were able to do the business on their own hand. That seems to be the predominant relationship that's been exposed by a bunch of these Clinton cash revelations.
And I think that's right.
And what Giustra, Josh, and Giustra in the first place would be start writing all of those massive checks to Bill Clinton and his foundations for introductions, because Giustra would have not had any of those introductions if he hadn't started writing checks to Clinton.
I don't know if that's true. Giustra was a billionaire mining magnate before he ever met Bill Clinton. The figure I liken Giustra to in my Business Week piece actually is Ron Burkle, because the thing that Giustra, I think, liked most about Clinton was just being in his orbit and the proximity. He let Clinton his jet
how many
26 times.
How many dinners did he have with the president of Kazakhstan and other countries who had massive uranium deposits in their country before he met Bill Clinton?
I don't know, Joe.
I don't either, but I would bet that the answer to that is zero. Yeah. And I remember reading about this deal back when it happened and looked at it going, wow.
Hey, Josh.
Years ago.
Josh, did the foundation pick up any part of the 25 reported
private
jet trips?
I don't know, because they have not been forthcoming with nearly as much information as they ought to. They haven't even released the names of over 1,000 donors, I think, now, even after having agreed to do so. So we really don't know what's going on, and it's frustrating, I should point out, Mike, not just to journalists, but yesterday in Africa at a Clinton Foundation event, one of the big donors up on stage with Bill Clinton actually kind of lambasted him and said, why aren't you guys at the Clinton Foundation doing a better job of standing up for yourself, disclosing this information? And Clinton himself said, look, I don't know, I just work here.
Still ahead on Morning Joe, it may not cost you a whole